Welcome to all of you. I'm really happy to do Pinette again, and today we're going to talk about my products. And I know the last time, a couple of months ago, I did a video with my new line of products, and a lot of questions were asked, and some tried it and wrote me. So today we're gonna glue some fabric on a treasure box, because I had the idea of doing a treasure box for my grandkid, so my little Noah, and I wanted to keep all his treasures in there, like first boots and first, little, things that he was playing with when he was a baby, and you know what I mean, like a treasure box. So it's really easy to do, and I thought that together we could do that. So we're gonna start right now, and I think you're gonna like the fabric that I choose. And so if you feel like you're taking any kind of fabric you have at home, you will be doing it with whatever you want. It could even be tissue paper, it could even be paper. So whatever you want to put on there, it's you're deciding, and it's your idea. So today I'm working with the fabric that I fell in love with a couple of months ago, and I wanted to show you. So let's start. So today what we're gonna do is this beautiful box. I already painted with acrylic, and it's really easy. You could take whatever paint you want to put. It could be like a chalk-based paint, it could be an acrylic paint, which you have home is perfect. So what I did is I've put two coats of this acrylic paint, a gray, light gray, and I let dry between all the applications. And once it's all dry, I'm not putting anything else on there. I'm just gonna do the rest of my techniques on there. So I had this box for a long time, and I had the chance to do something with it, so I said, why not this beautiful treasure box? So if I have a little, let me take this off. Okay, so first of all, this is my fabric that I found. It's so nice. I bought it at Club Tissu. We have a store here in Quebec that I really love, and it looks, it's little moons, so it's really cute with faces. So it's really nice, and there's like little words like dream, believe, love, and I really like that one too. And it's like a theme, and so I bought this one too with the moon on top, and there's like little animals, and it's really beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut in there and put it on the top of the box. But first of all, before we do all of this, we're going to start by putting the medium. So my medium is a découpage medium that you put before on the surface, and you let dry, and then you're able to put the tissue or the fabric or even your paper, and you're gonna glue it with an iron. So it's really simple, don't worry. That's the thing that's really fun with that. Let me see. Okay, so this is my découpage medium. The first thing you're gonna do, once it's painted, you could even put it on a piece that's not painted. The only thing that's really important that you have to know is that when you put the medium on there, if you have a tissue paper that's very, very light, like white or beige, a creamy look, the thing is, if you have the wood in between, like before, I mean the wood on the base, if your tissue paper is very, very light, you're gonna see the wood between. So it's very important to choose like the same color of your base of the tissue paper. If it's a paper, that's not a problem, because normally there's a lot of colors on there, so you're not, you won't be worrying on seeing the base of the piece. But if it's tissue paper, it's so light and thin that you could see the color. So that's important to know. The thing that I suggest to you is to put the same color as your base color of your tissue paper on there. So if you do that, you won't have any problems. Another thing that's really, I think it's glued. I'm just like, I use so much that sometimes the lid stays glued there. So you just take a scissor, and it's really easy to open after. So, oops, there it is. So another thing that's really important to know is when you have a piece, when you're gonna apply the medium on there, don't put texture. So what I mean by texture, with your brush, don't go like this and just go on the same side like all right, and you know, like that. If you have like a tissue paper that's very light, you won't see the texture under, because you know, don't forget that this is like a glue. So like if you put a glue under a piece and you glue something over it, if it's very, very transparent, you're gonna see under the glue. But if it's paper that's opaque, that's not gonna be a problem. But if it's like light, thin, and it's transparent, be sure to don't put texture. With the fabric, you won't have any problem if there's a little bit of texture, unless you have a white fabric. If it's very white, well, be careful, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put some, I'm gonna put my video for my hands. It's gonna be even easier this way, so you're gonna really see everything. I think in French when I speak in English, so sometimes I that's so funny, but you know, I'm starting to be a little bit it's easier now. So I take the découpage medium and I put it on my surface where I want to put the fabric. If there's a place that I'm not putting any fabric, don't put the glue for the, I mean the medium on there, okay? It's only where you're gonna put the fabric. So you put an even coat, and it's very important to be sure that there's everywhere you want to put the fabric, or else when you're gonna try to glue this with the iron, it won't stick. So it's really important. Whoop, there's a little. It's very important to put it all over. So it's really easy. There's nothing hard there. The medium is transparent. If you're putting fabric that's very thick, I suggest to you to put 2 coats of this medium. You let dry between each of the coats. So if it's only like a light fabric like I'm using today, it's not you're not obligated to put like 2 coats. Just 1 is enough, okay? The only thing that's very important is to be sure that there's glue, the medium I mean, all over where you want to put the fabric. So there it is. And don't worry if you have a little bit of the medium that's going on the side that's painted. That's not even a problem, because when you're gonna put your varnish, you won't see it anymore. So it's not a big deal. So don't worry about that. Okay, so I missed a little spot here. So very important. Check on with the lights to be sure that you have it all over the place. Turn your piece and look to be sure that's all there. And if you know, sometimes it happens on the sides that we put less. So if it happens, you could put more under and let it dry and then iron again if it happens. So don't be worried about that. Okay, so now we're gonna let dry this piece. And the other place where I want to put some fabric, it's gonna be on the sides here. All the side here I want to put a fabric too. So I'm gonna put some here too. Same thing, okay? I'm gonna put the one that's written like dream, love, believe. So all over there. And now we're letting dry for about, it's between 30 minutes to an hour. It's not that much. And even if it's not, I mean, if it's like when you touch the surface and it's a little bit like humid, don't worry, it's gonna glue perfectly. So you don't, but don't, if it's wet, don't do it. But if it's like a little bit humid, it's okay. So I'm doing all the side. You could even put it inside the box if you want to. So here I go, like this. And we're gonna let dry. It's not that much. I'm gonna do the other side. And the thing that's really nice in my line of products, I have 4 different mediums. So I have the découpage medium, I have the matte varnish. The matte varnish, we use it for selling, like sealer, not selling, sealer. So I use it like a sealer, I mean. So the matte varnish is used more for sealer, and I have the varnish for the, when we're finishing the piece and you want to varnish. But my varnish is glossy. So if you want something that's more satin or really matte, you could use my matte varnish. But satin varnish, I don't have it yet, but it's in the process, so it will come. Okay, so let's try all of this, and in about 30 minutes to an hour, I will come back on the video and show you how to glue this in an instant. You're really gonna love it. And the thing that's really nice, it's really perfect. So it doesn't do any texture, and it glues so perfectly that you could even put this on canvas. So if you want to do a big canvas and paint all over the canvas, and you want to put fabric on there before, or even paper or tissue paper, that's why I created this product, because I wanted to paint my pieces with it. So just before I make you wait for this, I'm going to show you a couple of things that I did. So this is one of my tissue paper on my collection, and I did this piece that I've put some pieces in there and risen over. So, and it's glued before with the iron on there. So this is one of them. Another piece that I did, I painted a rose and I've glued this fabric on my canvas. And if you look, it's really resistant. So, and there's no texture. It's very beautiful. And the thing that's really nice, it's you could do whatever you want. You paint on this, it's great. Surface is going to be so, no texture, no nothing. It's going to be so nice to paint. You're going to love it. The thing that's really important when you want to paint over your fabric once it's glued, you have to put, like I said, a sealer. But the sealer that you're gonna put, it's my matte varnish. So my matte varnish is used for a sealer, and you're gonna seal all your pieces with it before you paint anything else over. You could even put some, if you have like a big canvas, if you want to put a lot of paint on there and the paint is like very wet, you're going to put 2 coats of the sealer, that's the matte varnish, and wait between the 2 applications of the varnish, and then you go and paint whatever you want. You're good to go. So so it's really fun. So this is another fabric that I've put on canvas, and this is tissue paper that I've put on there. And if you look very closely, I will show you here. If you look very closely, you'll see it's perfect. There's no texture. The paper doesn't do any texture on there, and it's perfect. So it's really nice. Same thing for the fabric. Look at the fabric, it's so beautiful. So, and if you want to have this kind of texture and be able to paint, you put my matte varnish before painting any creation on there. Okay, wondering if I'm gonna put a little bit of I like this. Okay, so just be sure, and don't worry if you have like if your fabric is like it's not straight, because when you're gonna iron it, it's gonna be straighting really fast, so it's not a problem. Okay, the second thing you have to have is parchment paper, because you don't want to burn the fabric or the tissue or even the paper that you're gonna use. So we're gonna put this over the fabric. Like this, and then we're gonna iron. A hot iron is perfect. Okay. So I'm ironing. you go from here and then you go over there. If you have a long piece or a big piece, you start in the middle and then you do all the right side and then the left side. Because if you use like tissue paper or paper, if you go all over the place like this, it's gonna be, you're gonna have texture, you're gonna have like some paper that's gonna be all, I don't know how to say that in English, like, it won't be beautiful, that's for sure. So. Wrinkle, that's it, wrinkle. If I'm looking for the word, but if you won't have any wrinkles on the piece. So it's important to start at the beginning and then you go and iron it. And you'll see it's gonna glue there. And you won't have any wrinkles. Okay. And don't worry for the paint that's under there. If it's dry for a couple of days or even a lot of hours, it's going to be perfect then. Okay. And look to be sure that everything is perfect and really glued on the piece before stopping. So it's a couple of minutes. Be sure it's glued on the sides because when you're gonna cut, you want to be sure that it's really gonna be staying on the piece, on the wood piece. Oh, it's almost finished. You can see it's gonna really be nice. And you're gonna be able to varnish this piece, so it's gonna be durable. It's going to be beautiful. You could even put resin if you want to over, if you like to varnish with resin. Okay. So I think it's ready. It's on the sides here. Okay. Well, this is perfect. Now it's done. Look, it's glued all over. Yay! But when still it's hot, you have to wait because the thing that's important, if it's too hot and you try to cut it, it's gonna be hard to cut. So you wait a little bit, and when it's cold or even like a temperature piece, temperature, I mean, of your I mean, it's not hot anymore. That's what I wanted to say. You're going to be okay to cut your fabric. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the sides. The thing that I did, because the side is really much, so we're going to wait there. I cut it. I've measured my size here, and I cut it to be sure that it's going to be perfect all around. So even you start by the beginning of, let me show you with my hands, it's going to be better. Okay, the thing that's important, let me show you here. Here, because we have a finished piece here, it's important to lay it like that. It's going to be straight. Okay, so put it straight, follow the line like this, and you iron. And if it's going longer here, we're going to be able to cut it afterwards here. It's going to be easier than here. So that's why I cut it the measure, almost the same measure, okay? And don't cut it the same because it's not going to be straight because of the piece. Sometimes they're not straight. So we're going to do the same thing on the side here. I'm going to take off the excess of this thing. Okay, so then you could iron it like this. Be sure it's there. Okay. You could even cut your parchment paper to be sure to be straight, okay? Oops, I'm going to put it the other way, down here, okay? Then you go ahead. Okay, here you go. It's just a fine, hey, now it's going. So you hold with your hand the fabric, and then you follow the line where you want it to be cut, and it cuts really easy, okay? Why? Because this part is glued and this one is not, so. And if there's little places at the end that you want to cut back, you could go back with the cutting knife and take it off. So what you could do is just take off the piece here. This way it's going to be easier. Okay? Like this. And you go all over. And I just want to show you something. You have to follow this piece. Go a little bit on the side. Oops. There's excess here. So just to show you a little example here on the top, you see there's a little space that's not cut like I want. I have really good scissors here, so you could go on the edge and just cut the excess. I mean the excess, not the excess. Like this. And it's gonna cut perfectly. I love these scissors. It's the Kai company. They're really, really good. And I got those from Club Tissu. And then you could go and take off the little fibers with these scissors. If there's fibers that you don't like at the edge. So you do this all over. It's really easy. It's just, you have to take the time to do it. That's all. And then once it's finished, well, you're going to be able to put a varnish over this piece. So it's going to be really beautiful. So let's do this. Be varnished. After you varnish your piece, it could happen that you have little fibers like this that's going to be you know, showing, but go back with your scissors and take them off and you won't have any more. So once it's going to be varnished, you won't have that problem. Okay, so I'm almost finished. We're going to be able to varnish the top of it just to show you how I do it. And if I would paint on this piece, well, I won't do it, but if you would have done this and put like the name on top, or you have to put the matte varnish, the once you're finished, and the one of my collection, my matte varnish, this one. Let me show you the one I'm talking about. Okay, this is the top coat. And this is the matte varnish, okay? So you need to put one coat of this all over this piece if you want to put like a name painted on there, or if you want to paint something else over it. So you put this. This is like a sealer. This is the matte varnish that I was talking to you about. Or else you put the top coat varnish. This one is glossy, and you could put it all over. So that's what I'm going to do here. If you want to... If you don't want to put any glossy one because you like the fabric style and you want it to look like if it was made from fabric, well, use the matte one. That's all. You don't have to put the top coat one. That's okay. So don't worry for the excess of fibers, like I was saying. When you're going to be after you varnish and it's dry, you're going to be able to go back and it's going to be perfect. So here I have to do this, the sides of here, too, same thing. So taking my knife, my cutting knife, and I'm putting just on the side. I'm coming here. I'm going to show you like this. And I do the same thing all around. Okay, so then you take a brush and you have the choice of varnishing your top with the matte or the glossy one. I'm going to put the matte one because I want to give it a look like the fabric is like on there and it's like a fabric piece. So if you put like this matte varnish or the top coat on paper or tissue paper, don't worry if it wrinkles a bit on top. Just let it dry this way. Don't try to take off the wrinkles, okay? Or the texture. Just give it one shot when you put your varnish and don't go over and over and over again. So just put your varnish and let it dry. And it's normal if it wrinkles. Paper is going to do that. Tissue paper is going to do that. But normally fabric, not that much. So this is going to protect your fabric. So I'm letting this dry. I'm going to do the same thing on the sides. And when it's going to be finished, I'm going to take off all the little fibers that's there. And if you want, you could put a second coat of varnish just to be sure that it's going to be resistant. And that's easy. That's finished. I mean, afterwards, when I'm going to be really finished all of the piece, I'm going to add little garments like this all over. You could add buttons if you want to. Glue it with a glue gun. I will put it on here like, you know, a beautiful finishing touch. So whatever you want to add, if you've put the matte varnish, you could even paint and glue stuff. That's not a problem, and it's gonna be really beautiful. So like you can see, it's gonna be a nice box, and if you want to put a word over or whatever, it's your choice. So I hope you liked it. It's really easy. If you want to order the products, you could do it on my website at natachacreative.com. There's a way to click on the link, and then you're going to be able to go and buy the products. There's a it's a box with 4 products. You have the découpage medium, you have the matte varnish, the glaze. I have a glaze, so you could do a lot of faux finishes. And it's a neutral glaze, so you could put whatever you like, what paints, the colors you want to in there. And I have a top coat varnish that's glossy. So and if you want to be if you're interested, I mean, in seeing what I do with furniture, I put old papers and even fabric on my pieces. So go on my Instagram, it's Natacha Créative, and you will see a lot of things on there, and on Pinterest too. So thank you so much, and hope to see you next time.